Hello, I'm here with Suzy Ryder, the Chief Digital Officer of OMD UK, who has helped lead the charge for OMD developing its own sustainability goals while educating and pushing the ad industry to follow suit. And today, we're going to talk to Suzy about her predictions for sustainability in the advertising industry for 2023 and beyond. So with that, welcome, Suzy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. So let's start off with maybe some predictions for 2023. What major changes do you expect to see in regards to sustainability in 2023, especially as compared to what happened in 2022?
From an industry perspective, I expect every business to be analysing their operating model and supply chains to better understand how they can lower their carbon footprint. It's a question that every business will get asked more as time goes by. But I think in addition to this, we'll see more brands and businesses building a structured approach to sustainability. It will become a bigger key variable in decision making for customers and marketers. But I think as a result of that growing conversation, though, we will begin to see more brands and businesses being called out over issues with sustainability as the expectation grows. And people see that as a way of prompting change. And lastly, I think that net zero will be a growing trend this year. The recent focus on scope 3 carbon credits, carbon removal is all going to accelerate as brands and businesses really look to that as a way of supporting how they can reduce their carbon footprint.
Thanks for that insight. You obviously helped lead sustainability within OMD UK. And so from an agency perspective, what role do you see agencies have in sustainability? Are they initiators, champions, deciders? What is their role in that ecosystem?
So I think that we've got multiple roles to play. So first of all, we have a responsibility role. We are responsible for actively getting our house in order. It would be contradictory for us not to do so. So optimizing the sustainability of our own business, and this includes our supply chain and the media partners that we work with on behalf of our clients, is really important. And we have to play an active role in contributing to the decarbonisation of the planet. But secondly, I think we have an advisory role. So as media agencies, we should be talking to our clients and advising them on any theme or topic that will impact how they use media and marketing to achieve their business goals. So we can advise on how they can reduce the carbon footprint of their advertising investment, for example. But we could also advise on if, when, or how they talk about sustainability in their advertising. Accusations of greenwashing are increasing, and it's really scary for a marketer. So we have a responsibility to help identify the right way of approaching sustainability in advertising. But lastly, I think we also have a unique position of influence. We work with clients and brands, media partners, industry advisory boards, data partners, tech platforms, and so many more different types of businesses. And that position really allows us to stimulate action through those different collective voices that we can bring together. And the voice of our clients and the brands that we work with plays such an important role in defining what that influence actually is.
That's great. And you mentioned obviously you have to evaluate your partners in that process as well. So what type of sustainability offers do you expect from your supply partners moving into 2023?
I think at the moment we're seeing three core types of offers from the supply partners that we work with. So we're seeing publishers package green and eco-conscious content and audiences in PMP, private marketplace form, really helping us to reach those climate conscious people that are consuming that climate content. So for us, this offers a really direct route, supply route audiences who are engaged in that particular topic. But we're also seeing an increase in the number of climate conscious networks. But lastly, we're also seeing the rise of the zero carbon emission movement, I like to call it. So, and this is where sort of SSPs and other media owners are really starting to partner with companies such as Scope 3 to reduce the carbon footprint of the advertising investment.
With your conversations with your brand clients, are they pushing for better sustainability, or in general, do they need more education? I'm sure it's different by brand, but tell me what you're hearing from the brand side.
So yes, absolutely, brands are pushing for better sustainability. And I think there are several reasons for this. So firstly, customers are demanding greater sustainability from the brands that they work with. So for business audiences and customers, that B2B audience, that is really high on their agenda as they evaluate their own supply chain in efforts to reduce their own carbon footprint. But there are also commercial reasons why brands are pushing the sustainability agenda. They know that it's not easy, but they also know that they must evolve and change to remain relevant to their customer base over time, whether that be to that business audience or that consumer audience. Let's not forget, every brand has many employees as well. And working for a business that has a clear purpose and an ambition across many areas of ESG is becoming more and more important, and sustainability is one of those areas. Of all the interviews that I conduct now, I would say that 80% of candidates ask about targets that we have set and how we are holding ourselves accountable in the sustainability space. If you want to get the best out of the people in your business, you need to show how you are relevant to them and their values. So it's equally important from that perspective as well. We are part of that supply chain, and as every part of their business is tasked with reducing their carbon footprints and contributing to the targets that they have been set, we organically then become part of that conversation, in many different ways. But education, going back to your question, is still needed. If I were to ask my clients what sort of education they need around sustainability, then there are some consistent themes that come up. Reputational risk is such a huge concern for brands, and rightly so. Clients that we work with do feel a huge pressure to talk about sustainability in their advertising, because people think it's really easy, but it's not. You are creating a really huge vulnerability around your brand, and you must be very assured with your messaging. So any brand must have those proof points before they talk about sustainability in advertising. And this is where a lot of the education requests come from: clarity on what green credentials actually are or mean, and how to communicate these with integrity, authenticity. And for me personally, what's really important is with modesty, because no brand is 100% done here. So I think the real area of education needs to happen within brands, amongst senior management, in partnership with agencies and media owners, to workshop our way through how can we navigate away from that mentality and find a solution that really works for everyone, and most importantly, for the planet.
Yeah, those are great points. I think, education is going to be a huge piece of it. And that's why we also thank you just for even, providing your perspective here for everyone, because that's what we're trying to do here, is really educate on all the components of it. And I think a big piece, and I think I've heard you talk about this before, is also this need for industry-wide standards for carbon measurement. But how close do you think we are to having those types of industry-wide standards, and what's it going to take to get there?
So I think my answer might be slightly skewed towards the UK here, Frank, but before we talk about how close we are to having that industry-wide standard for carbon measurement, I'd want to focus on why consistency, I believe, is really important across the industry. Quite simply, we don't have time to look at this in any other way. We are running out of time to positively change the outlook for us and the planet. If carbon impact is to become a key variable in decision making associated with where brands place advertising investment, why would you not have an industry standard methodology? Our industry is made up of consistent methodologies that we all use to make informed decisions. So TV measurement, is one of the originals in that space. And yes, our industry does have different methodologies from different competing companies in many areas, so analytics, for example. But for me, the primary KPI here isn't to build a competing product, it's to be doing the right thing. But I think everyone is broadly in agreement that we need a consistent industry-wide standard, and we need it in order to get more pace and momentum behind this. We can't wait for governments to provide us with a standardized view or methodology. We need to make progress now. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't an opportunity for businesses to build a competitive edge. And I'd love to see businesses building on that baseline, based on the specific needs of the brands and the customers that they work with. Because if we can show that making decisions with sustainability in mind is going to bring you a competitive edge, it only encourages brands to really embrace it more.
Yeah, I guess along those lines, I think there's a lot of room to build those standards, but there's also presumably a lot of obstacles that stand in the way of both creating those standards and also just getting brands to run more green media. You touched on this a little bit with how you're educating the brand side, but take us a little bit through around, what are those main obstacles in both creating standards and getting brands on board with running more, green media or green media products?
So understanding the impact of some sustainable approaches is easier than others. So, for example, is a greener product driving more growth or greater profit than a non-green product? Is probably relatively easy to try to work out. But right now, the biggest barrier to more sustainable advertising is probably cost. Marketing budgets are under incredible scrutiny right now, and sustainable solutions do come at a cost right now. So they are not the driver of an effective and an efficient media plan. A sustainable media plan can be more expensive. So we need to urgently find solutions that are viable for brands, scalable, but are also more sustainable.
Great advice. Actually, speaking of advice for advertisers, what would be your main advice for advertisers looking to run more sustainable ads in 2023? Like, where do they start? How do they, make progress from within?
Build your proof points. Listen to your customers. Surround yourself with different voices to really help build a framework that is right for your business based on where you are right now. In your own journey, internalizing this is not the right way. Expand out and talk to many different people. And finally, just challenge your agencies and the partners that you work with, and the advertising partners. If brands raise their expectations, we will raise ours. Be clear about how you communicate these, and make every single person accountable. For me, that is what will be a key driver of progress in 2023.
Well, with that, thank you. Especially, you're saying we need to spread the word and get the education out there. So I really appreciate you having this conversation and hopefully reaching more people with your perspective and how we can actually make change in 2023 and beyond. So thank you, Suzy.
Oh, thank you, Frank.
Yeah, and great talking with you.